Hello everybody, welcome back. My name's Stephanie and I am so excited to be making a video. I know that I have been on a little bit of a break and we'll talk about that in next week's video, but today's video is going to be all the things that I have heard bariatric patients talk about that I have not experienced, and then I am going to talk about some of the things that I also hear bariatric patients talking about that I also have experienced. Before I had surgery, I had a lot of questions and I watched a lot of videos for years. I thought about having the surgery for years, and it's been really interesting to be 7.5 months post-op. I had VSG September 7th, 2021 here in the United States. And it's been really interesting to hear what other patients have experienced, what I've experienced, and all that good stuff. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, let's get into it and start with dumping syndrome. I don't think I have experienced dumping syndrome. I think that some people experience like explosive, massive, fast and hard diarrhea, or basically like they better get to a bathroom immediately and you know what, or they experience vomiting. I know some people experience like extreme fatigue. Some of them get hot and sweaty. From what I understood before surgery, dumping syndrome was often brought on by eating very high carbohydrate, sugar, or like fried, really fatty foods, or those combinations together, like the fat and carbs together. And I have had some of those foods, not a whole lot, but I have had some of those combinations of food, and I haven't ever really gotten sick. The only thing that has caused like digestive issues is the obvious when I've had some sugar-free candies that have like the maltitol, which, I mean, there's like a warning label right on the bag that says overconsumption of these may have a laxative effect. And I have found that since having surgery, I am more sensitive to that artificial sweetener. So I don't have it very often, but when I do, if I have just a little bit too much, I get sick. But otherwise, I don't think I've experienced dumping syndrome, so I can't really talk about that. The next thing that people I hear talk about a lot is not being able to tolerate certain foods. People say this sits really heavy in my stomach, or I can't really have steak, or I can't really have ground beef, or I can't have this particular meat, or some people I know say, oh, I can't have any bread, I can't have this or that. And there's probably, once you get your sleeve, there's limited space in your stomach. And so obviously things like bread or, big volume types of things, those are probably going to fill you up really quickly and you're not going to be able to have very much. So I don't eat bread. Occasionally I've had like a bite here and there of something like a bread, but what I'm talking about is more like the meats and the proteins that some people say that they can't really tolerate. I have been able to tolerate pretty much anything I want from the very beginning. My surgeon's diet program basically revolves around meat, eggs, cheese, non-starchy vegetables. And I did start with salmon. Salmon has always tasted great, sat really well. Shrimp fills me up really quickly, but I love it. The ground beef, I still can eat ground beef, no problem. I will cook like a grass-fed beef patty, and I can only have like half of one. So I can't really eat a ton of it, but I can have chicken, I can have chicken thighs. I've been able to have pork, I can have bacon. I've been able to have every kind of meat, and nothing really gets my stomach upset. So maybe I'm lucky. I don't know. If you've had surgery, I would love to know what foods you can have, which ones you can't have. I think it's so interesting. I've always said that I have like guts of steel. Before surgery, there wasn't really very many things that would make me sick or make my stomach upset. And so far, maybe I've just been really lucky, but so far, I can't really think of anything that I know that gives me an upset stomach. Okay, this one is something that I want to approach delicately and with I don't want anybody to feel like they're right or wrong or making anybody feel bad. All right. I struggled with body image in high school, in college, and then I got to a point where I just kind of got over it. And having children was like a huge shift for me. My weight, I just kind of, I don't know. It's like you get treated so poorly when you're overweight, and that is annoying. That is super annoying. I will say that. But for me, I felt like I never held back from wearing a swimming suit, going swimming. Like, who freaking cares? So my size wasn't the problem in terms of how I felt that I looked, although I wasn't like thrilled about looking overweight. It was more about how I felt for me and not being able to do the things that I want to do, not having the energy, being miserable, having pain. And of course, it's not fun to shop in the plus size section, generally speaking, because the clothes are pretty lame. They're kind of just like sacks, like weird rhinestones or like weird patterns, like weird cuts. Like, okay. But what I'm talking about is I have noticed that a lot of people all of a sudden talk about finding like this new confidence in how they look. I've always felt pretty good about myself and about how I look. So I haven't experienced a dramatic increase in my confidence in how I look. I haven't wanted to show anything off. I'm not buying more revealing clothing. I'm not really excited to be able to wear, I don't know, something that I didn't feel comfortable wearing before, because I never really, I don't know, I just never really felt held back. I've always tried to wear clothes that flatter my body and my shape no matter what size I am. So I feel like that has just been a very linear experience for me. I do like that I can wear a size 14 now. That's pretty awesome. But just over the weekend, I went to get new bras because my chest, I kept wishing that it would go down more, and it hasn't. I've always been a double or a triple D cup. And when I went to get a new bra, I went to Lane Bryant because I love their line of bras, and I got fitted. And she's like, it looks like you're probably about a 38 triple D. And I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm probably a little bit bigger than that because the triple D cups that I've bought in other bras, just to kind of like get me by, like I'm spilling out of them. So we started with the triple D. I was spilling out of it on the sides, on the front, and I ended up needing a 38G cup. So my body, I don't know, like I've always just tried to buy like a good bra that fits well, that like supports myself. I am more self-conscious about my abdomen because I have the lower gut. I've never had a flat stomach. I don't know. So I wouldn't say that I'm finding like all this new confidence. It's always been important for me to have good fitting clothes that flatter, clothes that I feel great in. So I haven't really experienced a new excitement or confidence about being able to wear certain things or go shopping. I just like that I have more options for clothing, and I am like pretty stoked that I'm in a size 14 because I haven't been in a 14 since well, even when I met my husband. My wedding dress was a size 16 and the jeans that I was wearing were a size 16. So I don't know. I haven't been in a 14 probably since like 2007, around there. So that does feel really good. There's actually a very high percentage of couples that get divorced after surgery. I think that probably is more, I would say that's probably because maybe the relationship was kind of bad before. Maybe one of the partners feels a new sense of confidence, empowerment, attractiveness. They're feeling all these things, and then they feel like maybe they don't want to be in that marriage anymore. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I don't even know all the statistics, but I would say that the marriage therapy and the personal counseling that I do has been so amazing. And I encourage anybody who's going to go on this journey to find a way to work it into your budget, with your health insurance or however you want to do it. We actually use Regain, which is the couples therapy arm of BetterHelp, which I'm sure if you've ever watched a YouTube video, you've seen people talk about betterhelp.com. So we do virtual counseling. I love it. It's amazing. And so I would say that my relationship is just as good as it ever was, if not better. And I credit that to the therapy. I don't think that the surgery has done anything other than improved, things that we're able to do intimately. Things are easier that way, but otherwise, I would say our marriage is still great, still awesome, still love my husband. He's still my best friend. And of course, we're always working through bumps. And I think that that's normal in a marriage, but there's nothing but love between us. So I'm very blessed that way. Okay, my kids are about to bust in. Okay, well, now that my kids are in there, what have you noticed about mommy since I had my surgery? What do you notice about me?
You got really thin.
I got really thin. Cece, how about you? What do you notice? What were you saying about mommy's arms the other day? I need to go have another surgery. Oh, I stink. I haven't showered since I worked out, but like, check out that skin. Everybody does like to play with my wobbly arms. I've always had like gigantic arms, and so even when I'm sitting still, there's like, okay, guys, okay, I gotta go take care of these kids. Let me come back to them. Okay, so they're probably being really loud, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up. Plus, this video is getting a little bit long anyway. I have listened to a lot of people talk about how they ate like one bite too much and then they puked. I haven't puked since having surgery, except for one time when I took a multivitamin. This was still when I was like almost 3 weeks post-op, so like 2.5 weeks post-op. I took my vitamin and I thought that I had food in my stomach and I threw it up. So that's it. I have never really felt like, sometimes I hear people talk about like, oh, I had one bite too much and you'll never do that again because it hurts so bad. There's been a couple times where I've had like, oh, I probably went one or bite too much, where I'm still kind of learning what my limits are. Especially earlier on when I was eating more varieties of foods, but I've never puked. I've never, yes, you can. I haven't really had a whole lot of pain. There was one time when I got an Arby's roast beef sandwich with my friend. It was, I don't even know why we did that. But I took a bite and there was still enough bun. I kind of tried to like slide the bun back, and that one bite that had the bun in it did really hurt my stomach. And I felt like after 10 minutes, I walked around and then I was fine. Okay. I'm trying to get through this while I have all of my kids at home. This is one reason why sometimes I just fall off the radar, because it's really hard for me to do things when my kids are at home. And then I'm just like so tired. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the things that I have experienced that seem to be pretty typical, which, you guessed it, the loose skin, especially on my arms. Like, I don't know how much of this is loose skin and just like leftover like arm fat, because my arms were huge. My arms have always been huge. I got teased growing up, and so my arms, like, there's just a lot going on my arm. Like, I mean, what am I going to do with that? I'm going to go have to have that. If I were to have anything like surgically adjusted after, it would be my arms first. Second, I have so much energy. In general, I feel like the Energizer Bunny. I am coming out of a huge dip in depression, which I know I said I'll talk about that more in a different video. But I still experience highs, lows, anxiety, depression. Things are still hard. Still experience, the same range of emotions. And in some ways, there is an increase in depression, anxiety for me, because I don't have the food and the binging and the overeating to cope with. Like, the tool has definitely saved me from those behaviors. Trust me, those temptations and the kind of that old habit has reared its ugly head. So, you know, people always, what I've read about, like people say like the surgery doesn't fix everything. Like you still have to do the work. You still have to work hard. I didn't really know what that meant. So for me, what that means is that there's still going to be times where I'm going to want to reach for something sweet, or I'm going to want to reach for food, or take a couple extra bites, or if I'm feeling anxious, or I'm bored, or I'm overwhelmed. A lot of it is when I feel overwhelmed by all of the responsibilities that I have to do. I'm still going to want to like sit there and snack. And so when you don't have that, or you're fighting the urge to do that, because you still can do that a little bit once you're a little bit further out. The first few months right after surgery, no way, you're like, how could people even overeat? How do people gain their weight back? And then you get a little bit further down and you're like, well, you can eat, wait an hour, you could go and eat some more. You could have a piece of cake instead of having something nutritious that's going to fuel your body. So I would say that it's been my experience that food still sounds good. There are still things that that I would like to be able to eat. There are still things that I can't eat, that I shouldn't eat. And that seems to be kind of the message that I've heard. So people are right. You still have to do the work. And some of your favorite foods may still sound good 8 months later. Some of them may not. I do have way less interest in sweet foods, and now I do find that I'm more interested in salty foods. So that is a difference. Otherwise, I would say that I'm able to exercise. I'm trying to improve that. I am happier. I am happier because I'm able to go and do pretty much everything that I want to do in life, especially those things that I wasn't able to do before. A lot of those are just being outside, having more energy, being able to have more energy just to get through my day, and then maybe help a friend, meet up with a friend, work on projects with my house, and that sort of thing. And that is such a gift. So anyway, I've got all the loose skin. I've got, you know, everything that every bariatric patient probably, you know, talks about. They still have their parts of their body that still kind of look weird and feel weird, but I don't know. That doesn't really bother me so much, but yeah, I totally do have the loose skin. I mean, what am I going to do with these? I'm going to have to just like go have them like cut out. I'm still in my workout clothes, but like my stomach has always been kind of an insecurity because I have like that bubble butt, and you can see it starting to get more wrinkly, but I still have plenty of, like, there's still plenty of fat that I still have to lose on this, but it's getting more squishy and that sort of thing. So you're not going to be seeing me like wearing a bikini anytime soon. And honestly, I probably will want that surgery, the paniculectomy, or maybe a tummy tuck at some point, because I still have that fold over. But I mean, you can see just looking at my body, like I'm not to my goal weight. I'm down 91 pounds and I'm 7.5 months out. My weight loss has slowed down a little bit the last few months. I think part of that is you kind of stop losing at such a rapid rate, but also I've had a much harder time like really buckling down and doing all the things that I know I should be doing. I've had a rough past few months. Like I said, I'll talk more about that later. But anyway, hopefully this video was informative, maybe a little entertaining. If you have any other questions or have experienced something, go ahead and like start the conversation down in the comments. And I would love to have you as a subscriber. So if you're not subscribed already, don't forget to do that before you leave so that you don't miss any videos. And I'm so happy to have all of you here as part of my YouTube family. I love all of you, giving all of you guys a big squeeze, telling you thank you for all of your love and support. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I will be back onto a more regular schedule. So I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.